Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Night Conversation. My name is Annika. I'm the founder here at Mummy Made This, a company I founded in 2020 to inspire creative play in children, but also to help fellow parents on this journey of bringing up the next generation of little people and sharing with them and with you what works and what doesn't work in my family so that you can take from that what might work for you. Today, I want to talk to you about some slightly different activities for children to do over summer holidays, particularly probably older children. Yeah, so it's three ideas there. I don't know about you. Some of these are inspired by my own childhood. So I don't know about you, but do you remember having that wonderful feeling of 6 full weeks stretching out ahead of you in the summer? When school broke up, and for you to do whatever you wanted to do within reason, obviously, as a child. So I remember filling that time with a whole range of things, from just playing with my siblings, but also with friends, to reading, writing things, but also to getting to know my grandparents. So I remember spending long summers with my grandmother and being fascinated by her heritage and her background. She was born into Nazi Germany and she ended up escaping just before the wall was built with my mum and her siblings, but also finding out about family trees and how does great grandmother fit in, and what about 3 generations back, and what did those people do, and what are the stories that she remembered about them. So yeah, I remember spending many hours sitting with her and looking through old black and white photos and just being fascinated by the whole concept of generations going back so many hundreds of years, and my grandma still being in touch with some of that in terms of remembering the stories being told and passed down to her. So that is one thing I want to suggest today. Second thing I remember is having a very strict but wonderful gymnastics teacher who always gave us, every summer at the beginning, she would give us a little notebook and just would say, I want you to fill this with as many exercises and tasks that you can get your hands on in your day-to-day throughout the summer. And I guess her thinking was she didn't want a whole squad of gymnasts coming back that were utterly unfit and didn't have any stamina after the summer. So she would give us that task, and it was a bit like not a competition, but she would always mark the little books afterwards and then tell us, this is good for stamina and this was good for building muscle. So it was always a real motivation to fill your little book and keep going throughout the summer. So that's a second activity that I want to talk about a bit more here. And then finally, I remember a teacher asking me, or the whole class obviously, to write a holiday journal with things, any of the things that we'd seen or done, or things that we struggled with, or things that we wanted the class to know about, and then bring along any, I don't know, ticket stubs, and a bit like a scrapbook and a journal combined. So I did that, and the other variant of that, I guess, would be to write your own fiction. I certainly remember attempting that as well. But I would, I'll speak to you more about that in a little bit. That's what I want to talk about today. Those 3 ways for children to journal or write in their holidays that will hopefully keep them engaged and happy and so engrossed in that project in itself that they don't even realize that they're doing writing and practicing writing as they go. And I've noticed as well that actually some of those, especially the just writing your journal bit, the third idea, works for quite early age. I remember, doing that with Josh when he was quite young. Anyway, right. So family history. Yes, okay. Family interviewing your grandparents, as I said. So I know there are loads and loads of wonderful books out there that have either just questions that the children can follow to ask their grandparents, or my cousin and I in another business venture that we were doing last year. Yeah, we created this My Life journal, and it basically it's split into different phases. So my early childhood years and my middle years and later years and things. And each of the sections has my teen years, different specific questions that that person can answer. So the child the idea could be, the way you could use this is for your child to ask the grandparent those questions and then make notes on behalf of the grandparent, or they both sit together and write it down. Or you could even use a program called, I've forgotten what it's called, basically to record your voice messages. That's not right. To make a recording of the answers that the grandparent gives, rather than the child having to write it all down. And then that program can be used later to transcribe it as well, if you wanted it as an online file that you can then either have printed into a wonderful book. There are great websites out there, blurb.com. You could just upload your files and then have the life story printed, essentially. Or you could use, what was it, Lulu? I think lulu.com is another one where you can write your own books. But I guess a simple version of it, which is what I did with my grandma, was just to ask her a whole host of questions and have my own notebook, or as I say, you could buy one like this one, for them to make notes and draw out the family tree, and both of them dig through old black and white photos together and just share those anecdotes. And how was life different for that grandparent when they were 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, versus the child's experience now. So I'm sure they'll be amazed that, what do you mean you didn't have Alexa, and what do you mean you didn't have Google, and what do you mean you didn't have Netflix, and just how their lives were different. I think that is a wonderful experience both ways for the grandparent and the grandchild. The second one, as I say, is this fitness journal. So yeah, you can buy any little notebook, really simple, just, it could be blank, could be lines on it, and get your children to make a note of any exercises or activities that they do. And they can either set themselves a little regime that they do every morning. I'm going to do 10 sit-ups, or I'm going to do 2 sit-ups, and I'm going to build it up to 100 sit-ups by the end of the holiday, or whatever their challenge might be. And then in addition to that, record and other things that they do. If you've taken them for a swim, or if they've gone for a bike ride, make a note of how long it was, or a walk maybe, or if they've just been playing on the trampoline, or playing a game of football with their friends. They can make a note of all of those things. I remember with my sister and my brother, even when we were shopping, if there was a set of stairs or the escalator, we'd go, oh, no, it's okay, Dad, we're going to take the stairs, because we knew we could count them and add them to our books. Or when we were on a camping holiday, and they'd have a pool there, because it was in the south of France, I think it was. So we would try and set ourselves an outrageous goal of, I don't know, we're going to do 1,000 lengths, or 500, whatever it was, by the end of the 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that we were there. And you'd split it up into however many you'd have to do each day, and you'd keep on track for the first few days, and then you'd get behind, and you've got to do double the next day to catch up. And it would just keep you motivated, and because it was 2 of you, if they've got siblings, or you could do it with your child, it can really keep both of you on track to just keep going and keeping fit and doing something together. I think that's certainly something that I'm going to try and do with my kids today, and this summer even, and do a combination of setting some activities that I want to do every day for me, and if they want to join in, they can, and then adding some of those goals, like X amount of lengths until the end of the summer holiday, swimming or running, or laps, kilometers run or hiked, or whatever. The third idea was this idea of writing a journal or a scrapbook, or a fiction book. And as I say, that it could be, starting with that one, it could be a piece of fiction that they just come up with, and that they write from their imagination. I find they come up with the most hilarious, fascinating scenarios that are often far better and more creative than anything I could come up with. And an incentive sometimes can be if I say, oh yeah, you write it, and then we can upload it onto one of these programs that I mentioned, Blurb, Lulu, and there are loads of others out there. And then you can actually get a printed version of your book at the end of the holiday. That might be an incentive for them. Or it could be a short diary entry that they do each and every day based on what they did. So literally just a few paragraphs, maybe, or just one paragraph of what they did. I remember doing that with Joshua, as I said, when he was really, really little, and it was a very basic level. But basically, every day I think he literally just started to write. So I'd encourage him to write 1 sentence, maybe 2, and summarize down what we did that day. So I went on a steam train today, or whatever it was. It was a holiday in Scotland, I think. So whatever it was, and we'd write 1 or 2 sentences each day, and then I would have collected like that ticket stub from the steam train, or printed off any photos that we'd taken, and then we'd stick that in, so it became a bit more of a journal scrapbook, and I still have it. So it's a wonderful, wonderful memory. Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to see, was there anything else? So those are the three main ideas. I'd love to hear from you what what you get up to in your summer holidays, and how you encourage your kids to capture some of that, and yeah, just write for pleasure, I guess. That's all for me this week. Next week, I want to talk a little bit more about other things to do again over the summer holidays. This is a whole series of summer holiday activities based around things to do with them when you're out and about, how to travel with them. That was last week, and ideas to keep them busy there. This week is more about like the writing and the capturing some of the experiences that they might come across, but also connecting with other generations and using writing as a way to do that. And next week, I want to talk more about teaching your children things, and how I found it quite fascinating that as parents, we tend to outsource a lot of the, teach your children to swim, or they go to swimming class rather than you doing it yourself. Or, even I've heard some parents, they outsource teaching them to ride a bike to other people. And why is that? We used to learn that from our parents, and why actually it's a really lovely thing to still do some of that with your kids, and some tips and ideas around how to do that, what things you might want to teach them, or things that you can teach them based on your skills and your expertise. Yeah, that's next week's topic anyway. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Let me know your comments, as always, at annika@mummymadethis.co.uk, or connect with me on Instagram or Facebook, also at Mummy Made This. And if you've missed any of the past videos, the mailing list for that is www.mummymadethis.co.uk/Monday night. And if you've missed any of the blog posts, or you want to be added to that mailing list to get the blog post straight into your inbox, you can sign up at Mummy Made This, www.mummymadethis.co.uk/mailing list. I would love to continue to have a two-way conversation, hear your thoughts, so please do comment on my social media, and I will see you next Monday from 8 o'clock on YouTube again. Have a lovely week. Bye.